Joining us now, Dan Henninger, Deputy Editorial Page Editor for the Wall Street Journal. What did you think?
I thought, on balance, John, it was an excellent speech. I mean, look at the two things that people have most on their minds. The primary exit polls showed economic anxiety on the Democrat and the Republican side is what is on people's minds. And the other big thing that has come out of the opinion polls is that between 60 and 70% of the American people think the country is on the wrong track. As a political matter, I think Mr. Trump's speech addressed both of those issues by linking Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama and the economic policies of the past that made people feel anxious, and then proposing a fairly detailed agenda and plan for going forward. And as he says, that one great phrase he's got in his campaign, make America great again. Instinctively, that's a lot of what voters out there feel they want to do, and he's finally given them a path forward to that goal.
Finally given them. I mean, for the last couple of weeks, Donald Trump has been talking about a number of issues, but most of them were not the economy.
No, not at all. And I think this was the first important step in a big uphill comeback for Donald Trump. The question now is whether he will stay on message, whether he'll go around the country basically repeating this speech, giving people some hope, giving the details of his economic plan, simplifying the tax code down to 3 basic rates, lowering the corporate gains rate, eliminating the death tax, requiring regulators to justify federal regulations. I mean, these are things that will appeal both to families, as he said, and I think to small businessmen, and as well as to some of the corporate types who've been having their doubts about Mr. Trump.
The death tax, for instance, you know, a family farmer works all his life, scrimps and saves, pays taxes, builds up a nice piece of acreage, and when he dies, the government comes in and says, we'll take 50% of that.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, a lot of the times when you get into these debates about the wealth tax and the death tax, people think you're simply talking about multimillionaires. But as you suggest, there's a lot of small business owners who created jobs, created companies, employed a lot of people, in turn gave them the income that allowed them to raise their families. And then when these employers retire, the government comes in and says, we're going to take it all back from you. That is what I think instinctively a lot of Americans feel has been off tracks and unfair about the way the country's been going. And I have to say he was very effective, I thought, in pointing out that Hillary Clinton, because she's locked in now to the kind of Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren wing of the party, Hillary Clinton cannot propose any of these kind of tax reductions or pro-growth economic policies that Trump is talking about. She's got to extend the Obama policies, which manifestly have been responsible for the last 8 years.
Can he, you called it an uphill climb for him. Does he still have time to make this message resonate before November 8th?
Well, it's not going to be easy. I mean, he's fallen off between 7 and 10 points in the national polls. He's down, I believe, 9 in an important state like Pennsylvania. There is time, I think, in the one sense that Donald Trump is a unique candidate. He's going to go out there and talk in front of large groups of people. There's a question of whether he has got the organization on the ground in Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, that the Democrats and Hillary Clinton already have in place to knock on doors and turn out voters. Donald Trump's going to try to overcome all that with the strength of his message. That message today that he gave in Detroit is a very strong one, and I think if he keeps pushing it, he will at least be able to compete and perhaps start narrowing the gap in the polls.
We'll see how it resonates and how Hillary Clinton answers back. She's going to be speaking to that same group, or at least in Detroit on Thursday of this week.
Well, that'll be interesting to see what she can propose in opposition to Donald Trump, because as I say, I looked at her website, I've looked at the Democratic platform. I don't see any real growth elements beyond large increases in federal spending in Hillary's plan.
Daniel Henninger, Wall Street Journal. Daniel, thank you.
Thank you, John.